Hey, rough and tumblers. Let's talk a little bit about feinting with the Bowie knife. Working from historical resources here. Feinting, just like we're gonna have in boxing, giving yourself a false move to get some sort of reaction to it. We're gonna cover three things right here. We're gonna talk about what you should be doing with the footwork, which is nothing. We're gonna be talking about what the grip's going to be for the thrust feint. There's a couple of more ways to do a slash feint, and we'll cover that in the Legends newsletter tomorrow, so you can pick up those other couple of tips there. And we're also going to talk about hiding the elbow. Very, very important thing to do. First, on that footwork, I'm not saying that you can't use all sorts of foot tapping and stomping to try and draw someone and bring them in, but there is a school of thought to say whenever you're doing the foot stomping, there's a tendency to kind of creep a little bit, bring you a little bit closer. It's fine for boxing, but here we're talking about a blade, and if you're talking Bowie, you're talking about a long, big-ass, mean blade. We're not wanting to be in range until we want to be in range. If we ever really, really want to be there, you know what I'm talking about, how sharp these things are going to be, and how dangerous it's going to be to play that game. So there will be some foot tap feints coming up later on, but as opposed to using those right now, let's learn how to make sure that we're only doing the checking your shoulder feint, which means killing the shoulder, and hiding the elbow. So first, the grip that we're going to be talking about, we're talking about thrusting only with this thing, is we're not using that thumb across the top. This is a much heavier weapon. We're going to get this thing knocked out and blown away. You're going to go ahead and throw that thumb around there, get yourself a saber grip on that thing. If you don't want to do that, you still want to run your thumb, don't listen to me, fine, do whatever you want to do. But the main primary thing we're looking to do right here, when we're working on this shoulder feint, let's not have this hand floating too much forward. You can keep it back here, running the chest. You can put it on your hip. You can run it back out here in this position. We really don't care. We don't want any float, anything equidistant. It needs to be back in here. We also want to keep this blade closer towards the hip, unless or until we're actually throwing a thrust, then we got to bring it up to primary thrusting attack position, which is not going to be from down here. Now, but we're just talking the feints right now, not really doing the true attack yet. Now for the feint, again, we're going to take the footwork out of here. We know there's going to be some sort of tapping going on occasionally to try and get ourselves some motion in there, but we just want to concentrate on this shoulder. Means if we start doing, feinting with the arm, this is fine, but as soon as the shoulder advances and we're only intending on feinting, we're opening up too much of the body, we're putting ourselves too close. Again, not so much of a problem in boxing, but working with the blade, particularly a big ass scary blade, this is bad news. So when we're doing our feinting, while you're working in the mirror, there's a couple of things I want you to look for. One, watch that shoulder, give yourself a profile, run it on the camera if you have to, but you can make all your feints with the arm, but you're watching, you don't want to see this. You want to see any kind of lean forward from the shoulder. So it's basically like the reverse rule of shooting a takedown, where whenever you're dropping and shooting, where you're not wanting that shoulder to break that plane of glass as you're moving forward, same sort of thing here. We only want the arm to move forward. We don't want any of this going on at the same time. So we can feint all we want from this grip. Wherever you're going to float that hand out, as long as it's not in cutting range, make sure the entire time you're working, it's just going to be, we're making sure the shoulder's not in play. Now, when we're talking about hiding the elbow, when we're throwing this out there, we can see is we're facing on. We're the ones right now dueling with each other. My God forbid, why would we be doing that? But that initial feeling out process, if this wasn't an ambush or just a dead-on slash attack, this elbow needs to be closer, back behind where the grip's going to be for stabilization, because when we're going for hot and heavy thrust, we're really trying to get some major penetration in this. We're not wanting this deltoid to carry all this work at any sort of angle, any position this way. We're wanting the elbow to be back to behind. So think about good alignment as you would on a punch the entire time. So even when you're doing your feint, you're going to make sure sometimes that will become a feint in of itself. Just the mere dint of me holding this close back to the hip and then putting the elbow, hiding the elbow, putting the elbow back behind the wrist, that is often what's going to give us that illusion of something's coming in. Keep in mind, further down the road when we're talking about doing all of our attacks, every single one of your attacks will have hiding the elbow idea behind it, because we're going to get into most of the ideas about the cut and slash or parry against that Bowie is going to be versus an elbow that is not hidden. So it's very easy to fall into that habit in the very beginning, not hiding the elbow. But if you get to the beginning, think about putting that elbow back behind the grip, you're in a good place. And the other idea is to keep in mind, only move the arm, not the shoulder. There should be no shoulder advancement. And like I said, play with that. In the Legends newsletter, we'll talk about additional ideas when we're doing the feinting from slash positions. You put those together and hopefully you get yourself in a safer position. But hell, we're talking about Bowie knives. Someone's going to get hurt, and they're going to get hurt bad.